Look good, look good, look good. Still wishing I was with her. Got my finger on the mother.
Good, y'all. It's your boy Tony the Savant back again. Hope everybody's having a good to great day out there. It's NFL Sunday, week 2, and we're gonna get right into it. We're talking about the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Jets. Had a lot of stock in this game, man. I had a lot invested in this game, not money-wise, just as a journalist, talent-wise, guys that I'm following this season, the likes of Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, Garrett Wilson, now Zach Wilson. Just a few short videos ago, I was talking about the Jets being Super Bowl contenders, but it seems like, man, I mean, after this showing, it's back to regular old scheduled program for the Jets. So let's get right into it, man. I'm gonna just talk about the Jets because, I mean, I feel obligated to. But literally, y'all, for the second straight week, the Dallas Cowboys has given us nothing to talk about pertaining to the other side, the team that they faced. Tonight, let's get into the numbers, man. Zach Wilson was fairly atrocious. Had one big 68-yard touchdown to Garrett Wilson, the old Wilson and Wilson connection. But outside of that, essentially nothing to talk about when it comes to the New York Jets. But Zach Wilson was 12 of 27, 170 yards. Like I said, that 68-yard bomb to Garrett Wilson. And 3 interceptions. 3, y'all. Yeah. Same old. And I had a lot of, you know what I mean? I got a lot invested in the Jets, man. Like I said, was really capping for them. Thought they was going to be, you know, in a contention for the Super Bowl, challenging the Kansas City Chiefs, the likes of the Kansas City Chiefs and Bengals and Bills. But from the looks of it, under the Zach Wilson, as long as Zach Wilson's under center, I mean, I don't want to be caught up in the moment, but Zach Wilson didn't show very much last week when he was replacing Aaron Rodgers. This week, he had his first start since Aaron Rodgers went down with his injury. So, you know, a lot of people was expecting, I mean, me personally, I was expecting a lot more from Zach, but very, very pedestrian this evening, borderline terrible. And it wasn't just him. I mean, he was the one spark on the rushing for the Jets. He had 2 big rushes on one drive. I think it was in the second quarter. He had like a 12-yarder and then a 15-yard rush. Well, a 16-yard, I think. But my fantasy football quarterback, Breece Hall, did absolutely nothing. 4 rushes for 9 yards. That's it, y'all. 9 yards. After going for 127 last week, I attribute that to the Dallas Cowboys defense just showing that they're going to be one of the top elite defenses if they stay healthy and they stay playing how they're playing right now. They showed it last week and showed it again this week. So I will buy in on the Dallas Cowboys stock defense. I think those guys, if the Dallas Cowboys go to the Super Bowl, it's going to be behind their defense. But let me finish. Zach was trash. The rushing was trash. Garrett Wilson, man, it just was all over him. He really couldn't get too involved. I think he only had 2 catches for 86 yards. Again, he had the 68-yard bomb. Yeah, man, I think that's about it. The defense, let me see. Did the defense do anything? I mean, I got the defense. Solomon Thomas had a sack. I have the Jets defense. I didn't start them. I started the Packers defense, regretfully. But the Jets defense didn't do much either. Only was able to get a single sack. And just, you know, clean game for Dak Prescott. Dak, on the other hand, went 31 for 38. Let me see his yardage. 31 for 38, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard Another one of my fantasy football running backs that I started today. He came up big for me. 25 carries, 72 yards, on 7 receptions for 37 yards. I think he had a touchdown. I can't recall if he had a scoring touchdown or not. I know Ferguson caught one, but nonetheless, Tony Pollard played pretty good. CeeDee Lamb almost had a career game. 13 targets, 11 receptions, 143 yards. He set up the scores for the Dallas Cowboys, but he didn't score himself. But nonetheless, had a big game. Like I said, a career game for CD. Really exposed that Jets secondary. I mean, Sauce almost had a pick six, but he dropped the ball. You could say it slipped through his hands, but if you touch it, you're supposed to catch it. That's what we was taught. But also the defense, the Super Bowl defense, saving the best for last of the Dallas Cowboys. These guys, they got Micah had 2 sacks, had no regard for human life out there. Micah Parsons is my defensive player of the year. After week 2, the season ended today. I will win my fantasy football game because I'm only up 4 points, and my boy got shout out to my boy Trey Catalyst. That's who I'm going up against this week. He got Deshaun Watson, Mr. Deshaun Watson playing tomorrow. And unless Deshaun Watson is going to be inactive for that game, I've already conceded defeat. I can't see my boy getting nothing less than not less than 5 points. I'm only up 4 in the fantasy, but we'll see what Deshaun Watson do tomorrow. But nonetheless, Micah Parsons had 2 sacks. Osa had a sack. J. Ron Kirsch had an interception. A kid that I used to like watching from Clemson. Trayvon Diggs had an interception. Malik Hooker had an interception. Brandon Aubrey made his home debut. He went 5 for 5 with a 55-yard bomb, his longest for the evening. And then he also had 16 fantasy football points. Very impressive for the young man. I got the Jets defense numbers on my phone somewhere, but on my fantasy app. But I ain't gonna do all that. Let's do the Dallas Cowboys defense. 3 interceptions, 1 fumble return, 3 sacks, and was able to record 16 fantasy football points as well. So, all around the board, man, just a good day at the office for the Dallas Cowboys. I will say this, though, because I've been in Texas for a mighty long time now. Originally from south side of Chicago, but I've been in Texas. I lived all over Texas. There's, of course, millions of Cowboy fans out here. As a Packers fan, we've had their number. So every time I show up to the bar in my Packers jerseys, they, trembling with fear almost. We'll see what happens this year because, Aaron Rodgers had the Dallas Cowboys number. But anyway, I've seen the Dallas Cowboys have a Super Bowl, looking team many times over. The Tony Romo era was full of great teams, good to great teams, at least by record standards, that end up bombing in the playoffs at some point. So, as much as I want to give these Dallas Cowboys, all the adoration and praise and say this, that, and the third, I've seen these guys do this before. We've seen this movie. They've had, decent defenses. They've had decent offenses. Dak was looking Tony Romo-esque, when Romo was on today. But then they end up flaming out. What I'm saying? I was having a discussion with some cats in my group, and one dude's a Cowboys fan, and the Cowboys fan, when they win a game, and especially they win big, they pretty much swept the New York teams this go round. But once they win big, they talk big, so we got to deal with it for the next few days, y'all. But I'll just let them know, man. I always, around week 8, around week 8 to week 9, 10, the Cowboys start, showing us who they really are. They'll have some hot games, but unfortunately, I want to attribute that to some injuries. We've seen this before. Like, they'll just start flaming out, losing close games to bum teams. So I don't want to, I don't want to get too hyped up, too high on the Dallas Cowboys, but I will say that they are looking very good right now. Pretty much the best defense after 120 minutes of NFL football. I mean, we still got to finish up Monday night. As of this recording, I'm dropping this on a Sunday evening, but see what happens after tomorrow. But right now, the Dallas Cowboys defense looks like the best in the league. Dak is looking, finally showed up to work after last week. Thought it was pretty pedestrian last week, but Dak looked dang good tonight. I'll give him his credit. Tony Pollard looking real good as in his first year as the lead back. So shout out to the Cowboys, man. 2 weeks in a row, they've given us nothing to really report on about the opposing team that they face. They've pretty much blown these dudes out and look good doing it, you know what I mean, on both sides of the football. So that's all I got for that one. Y'all please like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content on this channel. Appreciate all the love and adoration and the comments and all the support y'all give me, man. I do, It motivates me to keep working. So y'all the bosses, you know my logo, you know my slogan. Y'all the bosses, I'm the guy that let it work. I'm about to get back to work. Peace.